Good evening. I'm Stephen Benoon, your host with 5 minutes left. And what we're going to be looking at tonight is the fall of Damascus, the stronghold, the place that was deemed a refuge for Christians throughout Syria, Damascus more specifically. Isaiah chapter 17 prophesied that the burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city and shall be a ruinous heap. And that's very obvious by the many photos that are out there, like this one here, that clearly show that Damascus has become a ruinous heap. The cities of Roar are forsaken, and we know that the Syrian troops forsaken all the different cities that are around closer to the Israeli border. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim and the kingdom from Damascus. And that's what I want to focus on tonight. Not only that, but the fact that it says here in verse 9, "In that day shall his strong cities be as a forsaken bow in the uppermost branch which they left because of the children of Israel. And there shall be desolation." Well, it definitely clearly shows that Israel is in behind the demise of the fall of Damascus and the stronghold that was once a stronghold for Christians, those that had entered into the new covenant, something you're going to find out in the Dead Sea Scrolls here in just a moment. But before we go into that, I want to share this very interesting passage from Matthew chapter 22 that's going to set that stage for us. This is when one of the Pharisees, a lawyer of their group, came to Jesus and said, "Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. The second is likened unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." Well, oddly enough, the Dead Sea Scrolls bears a very shocking verbiage in that very statement right there. And I'm going to share that with you here on the screen for you right now. We'll blow it up a little bit bigger. Differentiate, and this of course is in the Damascus document, between the holy and the common. Keep the Sabbath day according to its exact interpretation, and the festivals, and the day of fasting according to what was discovered by those who entered the new covenant in the land of Damascus. Wow, to set apart holy portions according to their exact interpretation, for each to love his brother like himself. Now, it doesn't actually say that, and that's another thing I want to bring to your attention. It says right here, "Laohev ish et achiav." Interesting, to love every man as your own self or as your own brother. To love every man, not just your neighbor as yourself or your brother as yourself, but like Jesus said, your neighbor as yourself. Of course, he challenges, he wants to know, well, what do you mean by that, right? What do you mean by you got to love who's my neighbor, right? Remember that strange, unbelievable argument that was made there? Well, then it goes on to say here, right? We're going to go into one other interesting passage here in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Let me find it for you real quick. This one right here. This is actually from the same place I was just reading to you, but I want to read this part here. This is in 4Q 266. It says here in the yellow, "And he raised from Aaron men of knowledge, and from Israel wise men, and made them listen. And they dug the well, a well which the princes dug, which the nobles of the people delved with the staff. The well is the law. And those who dug it, the converts of Israel, who left the land of Judah and lived in the land of Damascus." Now, I just read to you a moment ago, they entered in a new covenant. All whom God called princes, for they sought him, and their renown has not been repudiated in anyone's mouth. Going a little further, "And the nobles of the people are those who came to dig the well with the staves that Sceptre decreed, to walk in them through the whole age of wickedness, and with which they will not obtain it until there arises he who teaches justice at the end of days. But all those who have been brought into the covenant shall not enter the temple to kindle his altar in vain. They will be ones who close the door, as God said, whoever amongst you will close my door, so that you do not kindle my altar in vain." By the way, if you look at this in the Hebrew as well, it is especially from the book of Malachi, and I'm going to take you right back to that right now. In the book of Malachi, it says here, "Ve'isagor delatim," that is to close the doors. What does that really mean? Again, they entered into the new covenant. commandment. They were loving their neighbor as themselves, or every man as his own brother, according to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well, in closing, let me just share this amazing passage from the Hebrew Matthew with you, when Jesus says, "But you, when you pray, go to your couch, close your doors upon you, and pray to your Father in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly." And it's not door singular, as you can see right here in the Hebrew language, deletecha, and the yod making it plural, your doors upon you. That way you don't kindle the altar in vain. Truly, the people in Damascus, those early Christians, the one that Paul was sent to destroy, got letters from the high priest to go and destroy them. They were the early believers that had entered into the new covenant. And it's actually written in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching 5 Minutes Left.